Welcome to Style in the City, Greater Manchester's only dedicated fashion and beauty programme. Coming up this week, I'm joined in the studio by a Manchester fashion student who's showcasing some of his work. Personal trainer Theo Wood's here with his guide to at-home fitness essentials. And are we taking enough care of our skin? I find out the dangers of not wearing enough sunscreen. Two ladies are forced to face facts as a skin analysis reveals some worrying truths. And is there such thing as a perfect face? Well, we find out. Okay, it's fashion time now, and it's an inspiring fashion piece this week. Hello, sir. Welcome to Style in the City. So why have we invited you on?
I'm a student from Manchester Metropolitan University, and I'm just doing my final year, and I've brought along a couple of my collections to show you today.
And I have to say, it's a breathtaking collection. So let's bring on our first model, Lauren. Where does this come from in your head?
Mainly from the architect Zaha Hadid. It's basically just about the smooth lines and curved shapes she does on her buildings. And taken this collection over to Shanghai and had 4 pieces that were shown on the catwalk there. And it's just kind of mainly built around the buildings in Shanghai, really.
So what's nice there for us, because obviously I know nothing about clothes design, is that to know where you get the inspiration from, and it's as bizarre as buildings.
It comes from everywhere, mainly sort of architects and artists and stuff.
And colour-wise, how did you come up with creams and whites?
It was a whole starting off with sort of you'd wear perfect white clothing and it'd sort of get pollution on it as you're walking around the city. So sort of you'd wear your clothes and there'd be like an investment piece and you'd keep them, but you'd want them to sort of start to get like the pollution from the city on all the white clothing.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Lauren. Let's bring on Steph next, who's in the sort of same colours, so I'm presuming this is the same collection.
Yeah, this is sort of the same move on, because the fashion show started with the first outfit that Lauren was in, and as it kind of goes along, the outfits got more and more exaggerated till it sort of gets to like a very deconstructed point, as shown on this jacket and dress.
See, now you say deconstructed, but my next question was going to be, I think the jacket's quite structured in that it's suited, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is that the right term for me to use, a structured jacket?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's got all like boning and like lots and lots of padding in that one, but it's more sort of the sort of sections being taken away, sort of revealing the arms and shoulders.
Okay,
so.
And this may sound like a bit of a bizarre question, but obviously I know you've designed it. Do you have to make it all as well?
Yes, we have to do your first toiles that you sort of start off practising in those sort of materials, and then with this one, there's lots and lots of practising with pleating and ironing, and it eventually had to be sent off to Gorton, to a pleating factory out there, and they sort of pleated everything for me for the collection. So.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much to you as well, Steph. Let's bring on Emma next. Now, I'm presuming this is not the same collection.
No.
I've got an eye for it, I tell you.
This is from my final collection that I'm doing at the moment, which is more built around my sort of consumer more than an initial piece of inspiration. And it was just basically kind of a move away from the last collection, and is more sort of about drape and being really feminine.
So you mentioned consumer there. So is that what you want to do? You want to sell pieces to high street stores? Or you want to design
I'd like to design sort of mainly for a consumer, and I'd love to have my own label in the end, sort of money depending. But yeah, I always sort of start off with my initial piece of inspiration, and then normally goes on to the consumer, sort of so you can build up a profile of what you're designing and what the consumer would like, basically.
You seem to have a definite eye for what women want. So where does that come from, do you think? Is that just chatting to the girls?
Chatting to the girls and like my little sister, and I've got like 2 of my best friends I used to live with, both girls, and I just think that helped lots living with them, and would always like ask their opinions and stuff as well. So.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much to you, Emma. Let's bring on another Emma. Now, again, very wearable for women, so you certainly have an eye for it, but what was you thinking behind this one?
This was taken from the first outfit again, and it was sort of playing around with drape, really, and just as I did the last one sort of in Jersey, sort of wanted to obviously change materials, and just playing around with silk, satin, and just basically draping it lots and lots on a mannequin to sort of basically come up with all these different ideas of how to sort of position all of the detailing.
So designer-wise, who do you look up to?
Love Alexander McQueen and Nicolas Ghesquière for Balenciaga. It'd be dream job if I could get
Absolutely,
up there,
yeah.
yeah.
So, where do you go after designing these designs?
I've basically got my final collection coming up in university in the next couple of weeks, which is on the 28th and 29th, and then lots and lots of job hunting, unfortunately, after that.
Absolutely. But how does it work for you? Are you just have to put your CV out there?
Yeah, basically, the university are really good in helping us. They do it through a magazine called Draper's, fashion magazine, and they help us out lots. But they do just encourage you just to send your CV out to like as many people as possible, even if they're not like job hunting.
And if somebody wanted to do the course that you're just about to finish, what do you think they need to be able to do?
I'd be very creative and open-minded and willing to be just put through your paces and learn.
And do you think you need a knowledge of textiles as well as design?
No, not necessarily. I came from Art Foundation and was doing a lot more sort of like creative things with like textiles and painting, really more than that. And you sort of come in your first year and they sort of take it all back off you and just be like, right, we're going to teach you how to sew and put garments together, and then they encourage you to be more creative sort of as you progress through the years.
Lovely. OK, thank you very much to you, Emma. And thank you to you, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Good luck for the future. I know we'll see your label soon.
Cheers.
Now, we know that overexposure to the sun and a stressful job are highlighted in our bodies and our health, but does it show up on our faces? Well, we've brought these two lovely ladies to this Manchester clinic to find out the barefaced truth. Michelle is 27 and works an early shift at work, meaning she's often up at 3 a.m, picking up food as and when she can. She's wondering what damage years of leading a hectic lifestyle may have done to her skin. Dawn is in her 30s with fair skin and red hair. She's never been tanned by the sun, and so she's never felt the need to wear suntan lotion. She's wondering what effect years of sitting in the sun unprotected has done to her skin. Now, how are we going to analyse our ladies' faces today?
Well, we're going to do several tests. One of them is with the ultraviolet camera, which uses a very small sort of flash of ultraviolet light to reveal what is underneath the skin. And we're also going to use a more mechanical method, in other words, a contact method, for checking moisture content of the skin and also to check the pH levels of the skin.
I've got quite a hectic lifestyle. My job is quite odd hours. I work sometimes very early in the morning till very late at night, so I'm not getting enough sleep, and I'm just wondering if it's going to be affecting my skin.
Well, I'm going travelling for a few weeks this summer. Previously I've not used much on my face at all, and I was wondering now whether I should be and what factor really I should be using on my face, certainly.
Do you use the sunbed at all?
Certainly as a teenager I probably used them a few times, but I do remember summers spent sort of slathering myself in olive oil with friends and lying in back gardens trying to get a tan.
What will the photographs actually show us?
Well, you'll have two pictures. One is a normal daylight picture, and the other one will look almost like a negative, a ghostly negative. The whole purpose of it is to look beneath the surface of the skin, so we're looking beyond the epidermis, that's the outer layer of the skin.
So why is it important that we know what's there under our skin?
Well, because if you can detect problems early, then you can treat them early, so that is fewer treatments, it's less expensive, and it means that your skin will last longer in a better condition.
There's a lot of pigmentation around this area here, so really important that you try to start using eye cream with a good SPF in, because that will just reduce the amount that you have underneath there as well.
If we've done something, is it reversible?
In most cases, damage is reversible, but it's going to be a question of how long it takes you to reverse it and the effort involved. It's always far easier to keep your skin in good condition or to address minor problems than to actually try and treat sort of fairly extensive problems.
Again, can you see just around the corners of the nose here? You've just got those red dots again, and like I said, that's just excessive amount of skin oils in that area, so exfoliation will really help around this area here.
And are there any sort of major problems that you'd be able to spot through this camera?
Certainly sun damage, and that is affecting more and more of us now, because people are going away, going abroad more frequently than perhaps they did 40, 50 years ago to sunny places, and there's sunbeds. So the two together, tans are fashionable.
With the freckles, I mean, is that something that you've had since you can remember, or is it something that you have found has progressed over the years?
I think when I look at photos as a child, I've got small, tiny little freckles, and then probably towards my sort of early 20s, they kind of got larger and larger.
So you can spot sun damage. Could you potentially spot skin cancer?
If we saw anything suspicious, we would tell the client in a very gentle way that it's worthwhile, because we don't want to panic anybody, and more often than not it is absolutely benign, there wasn't anything to worry about, but we would tell people if we saw something that maybe was slight cause for concern.
Okay, so what we're looking at here really is the quite highly damaged, the pigmentation skin. So for your skin type, especially with your hair colour and your eye colour and your fair skin, you do really need to be using at least a factor 25 to 30, even in the winter time. And
Even in the winter?
Higher. Yeah.
If somebody doesn't have the finances, how would you suggest they look after their skin?
The skin analysis is free of charge, so people can come here whether or not they feel they can afford the treatments to have a skin analysis, and we will do it for them. I think the two most important things if you wanted to look after your skin would be, first of all, protect from the sun, so use the best sunscreen that you can possibly afford, and secondly, I'd say look after the pH of your skin.
Your cheeks are very, very similar with your pH, which is good because they're almost borderline neutral. They're slightly more acidic, so what we need to do is just bring that back up to a more sort of 5.5.
Keep the skin slightly acid. This makes the natural flora of the skin flourish, which will help repel bacteria. It will also mean that it becomes a nice sort of solid membrane which will keep your natural moisture in and help keep the environment out.
Still to come on Style in the City. After seeing what effect sun damage can have on the skin, I meet up with a suntan lotion expert to find out just how much protection we need. We take to the streets of the city to see if we can create the perfect face. And if a gym membership is last on your list of priorities, then why not get fit on the cheap with some at-home fitness essentials? But before all that, it's this week's product of the week. And as the sun comes out, so do our legs. But before we can expose them, we need them to be in tip-top condition. The Azure razor from King of Shaves is the first ever hybrid synergy system razor for women. The makers claim that the super long-lasting blades allow you to shave at optimum pressure against the skin, whilst a larger soft rubber bumper helps reduce risk of unwanted nicks and lifts hair for a smoother shave. The razor costs £4.99 and is available from Sainsbury's stores. If you've ditched the gym to save a bit of money, well, personal trainer Theo Wood's here with a rundown of some at-home exercise essentials.
If you want to get fit at home, you'll need some pieces of kit that are small, effective and can be stowed away easily. These are the pieces of kit that I use on my clients in their homes. These resistance bands are great. They're small, cheap, versatile. You can do anything you want resistance-wise using these. If you want a more expensive option, then try these power blocks. They're a portable dumbbell system in one handy unit. And again, you can get very light to pretty heavy. The body pod, perfect for core stability. Wrist weights and ankle weights, again, great for resistance exercise, even for cardio exercise. All these items can be put into a cupboard, forgotten about, and then when you want to get fit, pull them out. Cheap, small, but they can make a big difference.
Earlier, we saw what damaging effects the sun can have to our skin. Well, last summer I met up with suntan lotion expert Sina, who told us about the importance of using sunscreen. Sina recently got in touch with us at Style in the City to tell us about an exciting new idea they'd come up with after meeting us last year. But before we hear about it, let's see what he had to say last year.
It ain't no joke, I'd like to buy the world a token.
Tina, thank you so much for joining us, because you're here as our suntan lotion expert, and it is an enigma to most people, I'll be honest. I'm guilty of it. I don't know how much to put on, what to do with it, where to buy it from. But let's start off with the packaging and what that actually means.
UVA, it's a factor against ageing, skin ageing. You have a star rating system that's been created in the UK from 1 star to 5 star. 5 star being maximum ageing protection and 1 star being a minimum ageing protection.
So you're saying if we apply enough, it prevents wrinkles?
Yes, it's a long-term ageing battle. By having a higher factor, you will prevent wrinkles and skin ageing in the future.
The other thing is that people don't apply enough suntan lotion, do they?
That's quite right.
When you get up in the morning, you've had your shower, you're ready to get in the sun, how much should you first put on?
The minimum amount is an egg cup,
OK.
which should be approximately 35 grams of sun care.
OK, well, I'm going to pass this over to Lisa to get started. There you go. And so how many times should we reapply per day?
Minimum application, or reapplication, I should say, of 3 times.
I have to say, by now, I'll be honest, I would have had mine on, which wouldn't have been an egg cup full. Let me just see how much you've put on. She's not even really touched the surface, has she? So it goes to show it's an awful lot of suntan lotion.
Might as well be walking on the sun.
So that was a year ago, and one of the most important things that came out of our chat was that people really have no idea how much suntan lotion to apply. So you took away those thoughts, and what happened?
We developed this scheme called the Press and Protect chart, and basically what it does is it gives you the recommended number of presses that you should do with our product to cover each part of the body. And you've got it in 5 sections. You've got the hand and shoulder, the face, the front and the neck area, and then the feet and the legs.
Now, this dispenser that you've made, is this specific to your product in that you've worked out exactly how many pumps, or could we just have it with another product as well?
You won't get the Press and Protect chart with any suntan lotion, only with Calypso, and you won't find any pumps on any sun protection lotions out there in the UK today.
A family of 4 going on holiday, 2 kids, mum and dad, how much suntan lotion should they take?
Usually families take about 4 bottles, 1 per person. The research that we've done prior to this new innovation showed 8. So every person must take a minimum of 2 bottles, let's say for a 2-week holiday. But to try and make consumers buy bottles more accurately, we've devised this plan. So now it's not a case of how many bottles, it's a case of how many pumps per application.
Now, it tells us how much to apply, but does it tell us how often we should reapply?
Yes, the reapplication must always take place. This is just a safety measure. I mean, people have come and queried, well, for a larger person, do you have to pump more? Or for a smaller person, do you have to pump less? The truth is, this is the minimum recommendation. Common sense always prevails.
We've analysed skin, we've looked at the damage overexposure to the sun can do, and it got me to thinking, is there any such thing as the perfect face? What makes Kate, Agnes and Elle so appealing, and is that appeal universal? Well, we've decided on Style in the City to see if the perfect face really does exist.
We're looking for lots of different types of things, even features, symmetry, great nose, quite narrow, one that's not too small or too big, big eyes, eyes that aren't too set close together, pouty lips. For guys, we're looking for a strong jawline and as well confidence. I think that's very important.
So the perfect face should be quite symmetrical and ideally quite large eyes, high cheekbones, a smallish nose and full lips with a nice well-defined chin and good clear skin is what I would class as a perfect face.
I don't think there is a perfect face. I think beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think if you're a happy person and you look after your skin, you can look a lot more beautiful and have a lot more of a perfect face.
So, there's the facts behind the face, but what do you think? Well, we decided to hit the streets to find out what the people of Manchester's favourite face would be made up of.
Sienna Miller has nice eyes. Yeah.
Russell Brand's hair.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
So I like Johnny Depp, really.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
The
but
older
I quite
man.
like his nose as well at the same time, which is quite strange.
Angelina Jolie's cheekbones, probably.
Jordan's boobs.
Say Keira Knightley's overall face shape.
Fern Cotton's cheeks.
Cheryl's eyes.
Cheryl's eyes.
Billie Piper's lips.
Jordan's boobs.
Dark and deep.
Yeah. Is that what you like, dark and deep?
Well.
Boobs.
Although in a magazine they might look perfect, they don't come across as being beautiful on the inside, which I think makes a big difference. And I think you can tell someone that's naturally really happy, that will sort of show through in their skin. And you always say to people that they look like they've got a healthy glow if something's going on with them, and they're happy people.
I think celebrities and what you see in the magazines is very manufactured. The models and the celebrities, they're already made up. And in the industry, in the modelling industry, we're after a very natural beauty and a blank canvas, something so our clients can turn them into whatever they want to turn them into from one day to the next. It's not a manufactured, already made look, which is what celebrities are, I guess.
But if you look at the current trends for models, there's so many untypical beauties out there, which just shows you don't have to have the typical classic beauty, because it really is in the eye of the beholder.
Competition time now. Private Members Club The Circle have just launched their new restaurant, Kitchen at the Circle. And to celebrate, they are offering one of our Style in the City viewers the opportunity to win a prize worth over £1,000. The mouth-watering prize is lunch or dinner for two with wine, spirits and cocktails every single month for a whole year. The restaurant's award-winning head chef Neil Lorenzo has devised a rustic British menu with a contemporary twist. His exciting approach to food reflects perfectly the stylish backdrop of the Victorian glass atrium of Barton Arcade. So, if you fancy living it up like a star once a month for the next year, simply text the answer to the following question. What meal is said to be the most important of the day? Is it A, supper, B, dinner, or C, breakfast? Text style followed by your choice of answer A, B or C to 88821. Entries cost £1.50 plus your standard network charge. Players must be 18 and over, and lines close at midnight on Tuesday the 26th of May. You can find more details on the terms and conditions on our website. That's it for this week, but coming up next week on the last in the series of Style in the City, Nikki Gillan brings some colour to the studio as she talks us through some alternatives to the little black dress. We've got the lowdown on what hairstyles are going to be hot this summer. And as the online shopping market booms, I find out the pros and cons of buying on the web.